Really excited to bring you the upcoming interview with a very special guest. You'll hear him discussing all the great and courageous work he's currently engaged in. If you feel inspired to help him continue these efforts, please consider making a donation earmarked for his projects. Or you can give a general donation that will support the wider movement in Myanmar. Our ongoing support has been so very helpful and appreciated by many Burmese struggling during these dark days. Simply go to insightmyanmar.org/donation to contribute today, or stay tuned to the end of the episode to hear more options. Now, let's hear from that guest himself. Myay Latt, thank you for joining us on this episode of Inside Myanmar podcast.
Yeah, I'm very much thankful to you for giving me the chance to join this podcast. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have quite a bit to share, and we're going to be breaking down your story into two parts, the before and the after. I don't think I have to tell listeners what the before and the after is. I think that will be quite obvious for anyone following Myanmar, but we'll get with your before first, because as you've just explained to me before we started recording, you led a fascinating humanitarian mission, which before the coup led you to such far-flung places as Naga, the Naga Self-Administered Zone, going to Rakhine State during the Rohingya crisis, going to Putao, which I think very few listeners not affiliated with Myanmar would necessarily know, the northernmost tip, as you said, snow-capped mountains. So this is some really exciting stuff that really, that unlike many before the coup, had you aware and involved in places and communities far away from where you were living. So tell us about that.
Yeah, of course. There's two parts, as you already said that. One is let's call it my venture. After my graduation, I decided to join a medical humanitarian aid organization, which is an international organization. So it mainly focuses on the remote region, remote area. So after my graduation, I decided to apply my, for my jobs as a medical doctor, a team leader in Naga Self-Administered Zone. Yeah, that's my start of the story. So in Naga region, it is really remote. There are a lot of struggles in Naga region because it is very much underdeveloped. Our Myanmar is very much underdeveloped, but Naga Self-Administered Zone, which is a tribe, a lot of tribes live there, like in Chin Hill region or something like that. It is really remote area, so you can go in easily at that time. Sometimes you have to walk, sometimes you have to take motorbike on very small roads, So at first, I went to Naga and then serving as a medical doctor, team leader, and then I don't have any office because it is really remote. And then I have to stay in a hostel. It is so-called hostel. It is very small, and then it is very underdeveloped. And then I started my office setup for my organization, and then I started to try to do the discoveries around the in Naga Self-Administered Zone, especially in Lahe. In Naga Self-Administered Zone, we have 3 townships. We call Lahe, Leshi, and Nanyang. These 3 townships are really, underdeveloped, and it is really remote. So it is my story out there. So I conducted a lot of, exploration trips, and then I trained a lot of medical volunteers out there by the guidance of my organization. And then I do their disease control activities like malaria. There is a malaria outbreak in Naga region at that time. It's endemic area. So yeah, most of my activities are mainly focused on the, disease control programs, so something like malaria, TB, and then also, etc., some primary healthcare. So at that time, it is quite strange. I haven't expected. One thing is, the Naga people, especially from the hilly region and then from the remote villages, they haven't seen a doctor before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
When I go to to their villages, they were like, "Oh, is it a doctor? We haven't met a doctor before." Especially, they might be meeting doctors in somewhere else, but no one's come to here. They explained it to me. Right now, I have to come here. Now our organization is implementing in your remote area, so we will come frequently to your villages, like 2 monthly, sometimes quarterly, sometimes biannually, etc. Yeah. It is an unforgettable memories. And then at that time, there's one thing to be interested in. There is no official jurisdiction system. They ran the jurisdiction system by their adults, and then you can't speak one language to another villages, because each and every most of the villages speak their own language. It's like more tribal. It's quite interesting. It's quite adventurous. And then I've been fell off from the cliff by my motorbikes in Naga 5 times. Oh. Fortunately, I'm alive right now. Actually, each time is really, really, exciting moment. And then at that time, I thought, I'd be dead for each time.
Yeah.
Because, it is quite dangerous, It is quite high, hilly region. And then the roads are too small, it's like 2 feet wide. 2 feet, just only 2 feet. So on the other hand, there's a cliff. On the other hand, there's a wall of the mountain. So we have to drive very carefully. So there are a lot of, my supervision visits to my volunteers and exploration visits to these villages. I fell off from the cliff, like I said, 5 times. At that time, I thought I was dead, but fortunately, I'm not. Actually, it is like in 2017, 2018, but there are some doctors still doing these kind of activities in Naga right now. But strangely, no one is dead from falling off the cliff.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite strange. I don't know why.
What do you make of that?
No, it's some roads are really tricky and really dangerous, and then we can be killed by falling off from the cliff. But it's quite strange. It's like 8 years. We've been implementing this kind of remote area, but no one is dead. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But unfortunately, one of the motorbike was on fire. It is due to high capacity performance to the motorcycle engine or something like that. But no one is dead. It's quite strange. Yeah, it is quite adventurous. And then at that time, I got some experience of the tribals of the Naga region, Naga Self-Administered Zone. So the jurisdiction system, they do their own, and then also they always carry homemade guns, and then they hunt, and then they grow the rices. There's least development of the currency culture. Most of them don't want to use the money, the notes. They're just doing some some trade between each other.
It's a barter system.
Yeah, so most of the Naga people don't use the notes, bank notes. They just only grow themselves for their food. And then sometimes they have to hunt, and then they share it, and then they exchange, with the rice and the hunted, meat or something like that. yeah, it is quite interesting. Yeah, at that time. Yeah, this is my first chapter of the.
How long did you
adventure.
spend in Naga?
Actually, at that time, I spent in Naga for like 7 months.
7 months.
7 months.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 months, and
Yeah.
then after that, I moved to Chin State and then also Rakhine. You know, together with my organization at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but after that, I moved to Putao. I lived there like 1.5 years in the northernmost part of the Myanmar. And then I also climbed. I did the mountaineering. Yeah, I also climbed to one of the snow-capped mountain, which is called Phongyin Razi, which is like 4,000 meters high.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, with my team. And then after that, I moved to, I've been gently promoted to the head office. As you already know, our head office is in Rangoon. So in Rangoon, I have to, supervise and direct, manage, seniorly manage one of the projects in Naga again. At that time, I have to do the supervision visits. Actually, my base is in Yangon, but sometimes I have to do the supervision visits in Naga. At that time, I did supervision visits to all 3 townships of Naga Self-Administered Zone. So at first, Lahe township for like 7 months, and then after that, during my times in Rangoon head office, I made supervision visits to the 3 townships, Lahe, Leshi, and Nanyon. It's like it's during the COVID era, so it's like 3 months or 4 months for my supervision visits to those 3 townships. So as for me, I'm quite familiar with Naga Self-Administered Zone because I've been moving around from every villages, from each to each villages, and then also every townships. I even drove my bike by my own. In Naga, I usually drove my bike by my own. I'm a good motorcyclist. So yeah, to the border of India, and then met with the Naga people who live in India.
Right.
Yeah, it is quite famous. There's an elder person of Naga who was built his own on the border of Myanmar and India. I think you might have heard about him.
I have.
Yeah.
So
it's side by side, So.
Right. So he wakes up in India and then gets a cup of coffee in Burma. And
Exactly. I've visited to his house, and that it is quite grand because he's an elder. So he's an elder of the Naga tribe, one of the Naga tribe, and then is quite famous. I've been visited to there, and then I've been doing some of the trainings to my volunteers, and then also doing supervision basics at that time. So after Naga, I moved to Chin State, as I already stated to you. At that time, Chin State is in conflict between Rakhine's army and Myanmar military. You might heard about them. So it's like in late of 2018, and then earlier months of 2019, I believe. So my adventures continue, of course. So at that time, I joined a team. I became promoted from the team leader, medical doctor, to the project medical coordinator. I've been promoted. So I joined the team, and then under my supervision, there are some doctors. I'm their head, and then I have my supervisor. He's a project coordinator. Like nation or NGO government, non-governmental organizational nature or something like that. Yeah. So at that time, I did an unforgettable supervision visits to the very remote region of the Chin State, especially in Paletwat Township. We have to take boats from the Paletwat town to the a self-deport point or village or something like that, like a gateway to the remote village or something like that. We have to take the boat. Then after that, we can take the boat because the water too shallow, and then these are the remote, regions and then remote villages. But people are living that there, so they need some kind of medical attention or something like that. So our volunteers are serving at these kind of villages, the local volunteers, and then also like our medical doctors and something like that, So we have to take boat from the Palawa to the gateway, and then after that we sleep at night. We slept at night, and then also tomorrow we have to walk. So it's like no internet connections. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. One thing is, in Naga, we don't have internet connections.
Sure.
And then also, at that time, during my serving in Naga region, I can't even able to call my home. The phone line, it's just only not the internet, just only for the mobile phone line. Phone line is not working.
You're really going back to the 19th century or even
Yeah,
further.
exactly.
I mean, there's no phone, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no money.
Yeah.
You're really it's really time traveling back to another era. And I guess one question I have about Naga particularly is, to what degree do they understand that they're part of the Myanmar nation state? To what degree is that even relevant to them?
What degree? It's like, actually, they are a part of, Myanmar's administration, but these tribes, actually Naga is kind of quite a tribe to our point of view. So they want self-administration. So the Myanmar government, even the military government, give them the self-administration because, the Naga region is very least developed, and then there is no natural resources or something like that. It's just only Barton or something like that.
Right?
Yeah. So even the military government think Naga is a burden or something like that. So that's why they've been abandoned. And then the Naga people themselves, they've been living happily. Because they just only want to live, separately. They don't want to mix with the other, like tribes and ethnic groups or something like that. Even themselves. In Naga, in the name of Naga, there are a lot of, ethnicities, diversities. Yeah, among them. So they just would like to stay by themselves.
But then you're such an outsider coming there. You're so different from them. So
exactly.
How did they perceive you? And you must have had interactions almost like, I don't know if you're familiar with the book or movie 7 Years in Tibet. Just going into being such a different outsider, going into such a closed society, and every interaction, you're the first type of person of that background that anyone has ever experienced, or most people have ever experienced. So you must have had some really interesting encounters.
Yeah. Actually, they've things like I'm a strange person. They've been stated so many times. Most of the doctors, especially an educated person like you, don't want to live in our, don't want to live in our, society or live in our, remote area or something like that, because we don't have internet connections. So I can't eat much. there are less choice of, foods or something like that, right? So they were like thankful to me. No, they don't reject me. They know actually are sometimes, how remote they are is they can't even speak Burmese language.
Sure.
There are only one person in a village who can speak Burmese language, who is very young. He was like, like 4th or 5th grader or something like that, because he or she was attending, our educational system. Because most of the Naga don't want to attend the school. They just would like to do their own businesses, like hunting, like, growing rices, and then other, vegetables or something like that. So the education system is not quite popular among them. But some of the rich families, because in a village, there's certainly one elder in each village, one elder in each village, sorry. So they are quite rich among them. So they are, knowledgeable. So they try to send their children to the school. Maybe the Myanmar school, or maybe if they have enough money, and then if they have enough resources, they send their children to their India for their education. So there are few people, who's been qualified to, speak to a language or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it is quite difficult to interact with them. I have my assistants who are Naga people, but they cannot, speak so much of a Naga language because they are very diversified. Sometimes they are different ethnicity. So if my assistants and I went to the same ethnicity's village of my assistant, they can inherit with Naga language, right? But if we are going to the different ethnic villages, they can speak.
Right.
They are like me,
Right.
Actually, sometimes one of my assistants told me about that. I'm better than them. They are ethnic groups because I can speak English. So, in some of the Naga villages, someone can speak English. Luckily, because they've been graduated from the in India, matriculation system.
Yeah.
They pass the matriculation system exam or something like that. So I can interact with them, but my assistants can speak with them. Yeah.
And how did they take in, you being a doctor? Because you said many of them had never met a doctor before. So what was their view on medicine and treatment?
Actually, they also have, as we already know about that, their ethnic way of, traditional medicine way, and then they have, like extraordinary, ritual things or something like that. So they do both. They seek medical attention from me, I give them the medicines, they took it. And then I did a lot of health educational sessions out there. They've been happy. They are just listening. But I always need a translator. It might be effective or not. I'm not quite sure because the translator needs some, medical background. So I use my volunteers. These volunteers were trained to solve the medical problem like primary health care to some extent, and then also like malaria control, TB, tuberculosis, TB referee, and something like that. Yeah, like these diseases. So we used our volunteers to translate during the health educational session. So they listen, and then no, it is not quite bad. After we leave, our volunteer, the local one, stay in the village, right? So we give them the supply because we train them. So the volunteer took care of the minor health issues and problem. So yeah, they seek medical attention from us. I haven't encountered one of the biggest festival of them, Naga people. At that time we call it a New Year Eve or something like that. They have like a New Year festival, similar to New Year festival or something like that. It is not the same with our the Gregorian calendar New Year. It is their own New Year timing. So at that time, they've been like, there's a feast, so you can eat a lot of meat from the rich person. So they have like pigs, so we can have porks, and then also the the cows, so you can have beef. So at that time it is free flow. And then there's one drink which is quite nice. It's like alcohol drink. We call it in our language we call it khao, Naga khao. It is like wine or maybe like fermented some kind of spirit or something like that. So it is also free flow. So and then there's a big, huge bonfire in the middle, and then the Naga peoples are circling the bonfire and they're dancing. The dance like walking and dancing. It is not like standing and dancing. Because they are encircling around the very big bonfire. The festival started, I remember, like in 3 p.m. afternoon, and then that dancing, traditional dancing, Naga people with their own traditional dresses, changing people from people to people to people, and then it is not stop. They have to do it for 24 hours non-stop.
Wow.
Yeah, no, actually they take turn by turn. They invited everyone.
They take turns, but for 24 hours, someone has to be working.
Yeah, circling. Yeah. Turn by turn. It is quite, memorable. And then at that circling dances, they also, shoot their guns like Taliban's, like celebrations, So like it's bang bang sometimes, and then singing the songs and then dancing in harmony and something like that. Wow. And then sometimes someone's was coming with their guns because they have homemade guns, and I like shooting done. And then even as for me, I shoot once. Yeah, it is quite remarkable.
Yeah.
And then if you are tired of dancing, so you can gradually leave from the circle, and then you can enjoy the food and then also more alcohol.
Yeah.
And then as for me, I was like at that night, since the start is like in 3 p.m. but I joined the ceremony, the festival, like a New Year, ceremony in like 7 p.m. together with my colleagues. And then I dance around, and then I return to my office at 2 a.m. in the morning. Around this time, I've been like eating, drinking, dancing together with them. It's like a tribal dance. So it is quite remarkable one. And then they don't have. After that, I've been asking to their leader, why do you guys have to dance like 24 hours or something like that? If you start 3 p.m., you have to stop 3 p.m. tomorrow. So they answer me like that. If we don't dance, if the feast and then the bonfire is stopped and there is no people, their plantations won't be good. Yeah. It's their ritual thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they believe if they can dance 24 hours, so their plantations will be fine. The rains will be good for them, not too heavy, not too light. The rain will be good, and then there will be much, like huntable, good for hunting. There will be much habitable lands, and then there will be a lot of prey to be hunted. Yeah, that's why they do this kind of ritual. Yeah,
I notice as you're telling this story, and I want to get to Chin and Rakhine and then to Putao in a moment. But I notice as we're having this conversation, you're an urban Bamar, and and this is before the coup.
Yeah,
and you're going to these remote ethnic areas with just immense curiosity, appreciation, desire for connection, not just as a tourist, but wanting to offer what it is you have. But I don't get the sense as you're describing it that you're putting yourself in a position as a savior, as someone coming to, descending to think you have all the answers. You're going for a real connection, but you're also offering things. You're not just a tourist. And I'm saying all of this because, before the coup especially, traditionally, they're thanks to the military propaganda and Burmanization and public school curriculum, it's been well documented the extent to which many urban Bamar from middle class grew up to really have a strong sense of the other when it came to the ethnics, to fear them, to feel them as dirty or less civilized or fearsome or or any number of kind of lower class outsider kind of denominations. And I think the military was highly successful over the years of inculcating that attitude. I don't think the NLD really did all that much to sway away from that. I think it even got into their psyches, and we saw with former political prisoners, Bamar political prisoners, we saw attitudes that were less than completely enlightened about other ethnicities there. And so all of this to say, it really underscores how unusual and unique your travels and the purpose of your travels and visits and integration is. And so I guess the question is, what drove this curiosity? What did you have certain biases you had to get over to go and make those trips? And what was it in your mind that really was operating so differently, especially before the coup, from the conditioning culture that was taking place then?
Yeah. For that kind of motivation, and what's my motives to go there is, we have to go farther back to my, students era. I'm a student leader, student union, in Myanmar, student union leaders are quite strong. Yeah. I'm one of the student leader, and then I've been, taking part in a lot of activities, like sometimes it's quite political. We can be detained or something like that. As you already understand about that, it's quite dangerous. Yeah. Even my home didn't agree to see me as a student union leader because I'm under the watch and surveillance, of the military all the time. So I'm quite political since during my medical student life, and then after the medical student life, we have to go to internship program. Yeah, internship program is like 1 year in some of the hospital. At that time, I've seen our health system is not good, so I would like to rebel it because I was a student union leader. We have the rebellious, mindset or something like that. We have to against the military government or something like that. So I decided I was interested in two options as a doctor, medical doctor. The one is, my first priority is to be a neurosurgeon, to operate the brain. During my internship, I even operate the brain because one of the associated professor who loves me a lot because I've been volunteering in neurosurgical ward. I'm just volunteer, it's not my duty. Actually, it's my free time, but I always volunteer in the neurosurgical ward. So he gave me a lot of chance to understand the neurosurgery. I even performed a barhole operation. It is to open the scalp and then to drain out some of the hemorrhage, blood and something like that. So yeah. So my first priority is to become a neurosurgery. So if I choose that kind of air carrier, I don't have to go to the remote area, right? Because neurosurgery is quite, tertiary and it is quite advanced. I have to live in the city. But another one is, my interest is public health. So apart from the neurosurgery. So I have two choices after my graduation. Which one will I be? So a neurosurgeon or a public health specialist? Right now, obviously, I became a public health specialist. There's a reason. It's because, even I did perform a lot of outstanding procedures in neurosurgery, I actually don't like the system, of the Ministry of Health, especially at the Department of Medical Services at that time. The doctors' lower wages, and then the hierarchy, the culture between the senior and junior doctors, the culture between the nurses and the doctor, and then there are a lot of, conflicts between each other, and then between the wards, there are a lot of medical wards and surgical wards and something like that. So it is because, our system is not good. Many people think we are the doctors, we are get paid a lot. In US, the doctors are rich, of course, and then also in Thailand too. Also in India, even in Cambodia, But our in service, the hospital doctors are receiving lower wages, and then also the working environment is not good, and then the workload is really high. So I decided to oppose the system. So I decided not to join to become a civil servant and to become a neurosurgeon. So at that time I realized I don't want to take part in this civil servant society, and then the system is really wrong. So I decided to implement my public health career life. Now I became a public health specialist. So for the public health, there are a lot of regions in Myanmar to do my practice, to join organization. So as usual, I'm a fresh graduate. I sent my CVs to a lot of organizations, to Medicine Sans Frontiers, MSF, Doctors Without Border, and then also a lot of organizations like Marie-Stopes International, and then also Medical Action Myanmar, and then there are a lot of organizations I sent CV, like 2 or 4 or 5 organizations. So each and every organization called me back. But the first one is, Medical Action Myanmar. So I applied for the remote region. So they asked me, why do you want to go to the remote region? Because I'm interested in that. Actually, I'm interested. I would like to know what's the culture, what's the difficulties. And then I would like to know about the ethnic tribes situation. That's my first priority. Because we've been, as a student union leader, I've been politically, as I already explained it to you, because we've been struggling during the Penlong Agreement, right? So if I'm interested in politics, I have to I have to understand about the ethnic groups and then their thought about us, Burmese people, and then also about their motives for this country. So it is my chance to go to these kind of, ethnic groups. So that's why, I've been in Chin, I've been in Rakhine state, and then I also been in, Kachin state. Putao is Kachin state. This is all of my, career at the field level is very ethnical.
When you were taking, and this is an incredible story, it's an incredible background, it's really inspiring to hear. I'm also curious about your inner journey. You had the motivation to want to learn about from the ethnic side, perspective, life, etc.
Exactly.
At the same time, you are a Bamar growing up in middle-class urban neighborhood. So on this journey, were there kind of like inner biases that you had to get through? Were there, did you discover kind of in yourself some assumptions that your experience started to expose, this is also something I need to look at and change in myself from the experience I'm having?
Actually, during my, my time in university as a student union leader, I have to encounter a lot of, ethnic friends because they are attending the university too, medical university too. So I've been interesting more and more about their perspective. And then, I even didn't go to the 2008 constitutional, voting or something like that during I was very young, So I've been political, so I don't like the Burmanization procedures of the military. I'm against with the military since I was young. So if I'm against with military, I have to understand the ethnics. And then after, I would like to be honest, before the coup, after joining a lot of ethnic areas, at that time in my mind, what became is all of the people who are carrying their arms, the guns is the same. It's in my perspective before the coup, during my visits. Because I'm a Pacific, quite kind of Pacific. So that's why, I call out the CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement. I don't want to carry again. And then also I'm a doctor, I'm saving the life. I don't want to kill it, So I've seen some of the ethnic organizations are good and then some are bad. But overall, all of the, armed organizations, in my mind, before the coup, are quite the same, because of their interest in their ethnic rights. Some are, not going to their own people. Some of the ethnic, upper level management leaders, their daughters, their children, their families are brought. They are starting in the United States, in Europe, but the same ages, ethnic people are serving in the military, ethnic end groups. So before the coup, I was like, I couldn't able to understand. And then in my mind, I don't have sides, I am not, I'm not giving my favor to each and every end groups, including the Myanmar military. The one Myanmar military is the one I hate most, for sure, because I'm a Burmese, but I don't like military. I don't have some kind of, bad history or something like that. I have not been in jail or something like that. I just don't like them because they've been opposed to the democracy, because I'm a social democrat. My orientation is social democratism. So they are quite, oppressing. Military is quite oppressing. The military are oppressing the democracy group since 1988, since 1962. I don't like the coup. So I don't like Myanmar military at first. So the one I hate most is Myanmar military. But after, after my visits to a lot of ethnic region, no, I don't have any good impression on ethnic end groups also, too. They're the same, if they are. I was like, before the coup. After the coup, I changed some of the perspective.
Right. So Then let's continue your journey in some of these ethnic regions. You've talked extensively about Nagaland, and it's fascinating. I mean, we could talk the whole 2 hours just about that, and I think we'd barely get bored.
Yeah.
But as we move on to Rakhine, Chin, and
Yeah.
Putao, tell us more about your adventures and incursions into those other communities.
Yeah, actually, when I moved to Chin and Rakhine states, I have to go first to Rakhine. After that, Jiaozhou is a town, our gateway town. And then from Jiaozhou to Palawa is a state in Chinland, So I've been in Palawa, and then there are two prominent, events that were happening during my time in Chin and Rakhine for me. Yeah, it is like the first one is, as I explained it to you, we have to go to the boat, and then after that we have to walk to the villages.
Right.
At that time we walked. After 4 hours of walking, we are with our backpacks, a lot of medicines. We've been lost in the forest. I thought we've been dying. We've lost in the forest.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's no trail, there's no trail at all. We are like in the, totally, purely jungle.
Yeah.
So, me and my guys, I'm the eldest one, I'm their supervisor. So, discussed, how should we do about that? Shall we go back? Or what will we do, But we have some kind of, food in our backpacks, so that's not a problem. So, one of the local assistant is suggesting us. He was suggesting like that. We have to go to the height. If we can go to the highest place, so we can find a way back home, or maybe we can find a trail to a village or something like that. We've been departed since the morning, from our gate, and then we've been walking the whole morning, and then also the whole afternoon, and then we have to climb to the highest point of the jungle, the mountain jungle. So at the highest part, we have to search our route back, and then luckily, I was really happy at that time, because we can be lost, for sure. We saw a village. We saw a village. We don't know this village is our destination or not, but at least we saw a village. So we find a trail to the village, and then we arrived at the village. At that time, we don't have any kind of trail or something like that. Sometimes we have to walk beside the stream. So when we arrived to the village, we can't even go to the village. We were like, lying beside the streams or something like that, because we've been tired a lot. So we can't walk. So at that time, if we can't find the trail back, we'll be lost in the jungle for sure, like 2 or 3 days or something like that. If we are unlucky, we can be encountered with maybe Arakan army or maybe military, Myanmar military, if we are unlucky. So they will be suspected to us. Who are they? Are you from the side of, from the point of view of AA? Who are you? Are you from Myanmar military? So they will interrogate us for sure, right? And then if Myanmar military found us, in the jungle, so they will think that we are the AA soldiers or something like that, maybe spies or something like that, scouts or something like that.
Right.
So, and then the most dangerous thing is if we lost more in the jungle, we have very high chance of getting, the landmine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So luckily, we didn't encounter any problem. Yeah. That's why. That's unforgettable memory. And then after that, we have to go walk. Sometime we have to take the raft, just only the raft, not motorboat or motorboat or something like that. The raft, we've been like with a bamboo stick, long bamboo stick, and we've been rafting and then going villages by villages, and then we've been doing our activities at that time. Like, I think it's like 10 villages at that area, and then there are a lot of fightings happening in the jungle.
Wow.
The villages are, beside the stream because we need water, for sure. They won't survive if there is no water. So the stream is like this, and then the villages are beside the streams. So we've been walking, we've been rafting, and by means of anything. So we've been doing the supervision visits, and then also doing the healthcare, and then we back to the city,
This
to
is
the town.
Chin State.
Chin State.
Yeah.
Palawar town.
Uh-huh.
It was like 12 days without phone, without internet, just only purely walking. Sometimes we've been rafting.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, it is quite memorable. And then this is the most unforgettable memory of mine in Chin State. And then there's another one you might want to listen, and your viewer might want to listen. As you already notice about that, during 2018 and then 2019, there are still some hatreds between the Rohingya and then Rakhine people,
Sure,
right?
a
Because in 2017 there are a lot of riots and then chaos.
Yeah.
But in 2018 there are no more riots, like marching or something like that. But they are not, seeing each other in a good way, so there are state tensions there. So I like to go to a village which is really remote village of a Rohingya society. So the Rohingya village, and then I went to the local authority, medical authority. We call it Township Medical Officer, TMO. So who is the highest authority of a township regarding with the medical issue or health issue. So I went to him, and then I asked him. It's in Rau Township. I asked him, like, sir, I would like to go to that village. It's Rohingya village, and it's very remote, but the trip is not a problem for me. So I need your permission if I can go there, because there are a lot of clashes between the Rohingya and Rakhine people. And then that TMO replied to me, just only one thing: I don't give you permission, but whether going to that village or not, it's totally depend on yourself. If you get decapitated, it's on your course. If you get beaten, it's on your course. I won't I won't care about anything. So it's up to you. I don't give you permission from my side. But if you dare to go there, if you've been decapitated, it's your problem. Because I know if I don't, that the TMO was like saying to me, because I know even if I don't give you the permission, you will go there.
Yeah.
Because I can see in your eyes. So TMO was like, like like the doctor was like, the authority was like that, and then yeah, okay, then fine. So I will go there. Okay, it's on your own. No, it's not related to me. So I won't do anything about that, and then I don't care about your problem or something like that. You are dying, your problems, if you've been beaten or if you've been alive or something like that, it's on your own. So I decided to go there. Yeah. And then at that time, it is quite difficult. We have to search for the advocates, like for doing advocacy between Rakhine and then Rohingya. I've witnessed a lot of, gates, not by the soldier, by the people themselves. Sometimes the Rohingya gates, sometimes the Rakhine gates. The villages gates. They are with their swords and then machete. They are, they are guarding their own villages from each other. So we have to find the advocator, and then the advocator advocated to the Rohingya villages. That we are not, Rakhine people. We are just only here to help or something like that.
Right.
And then for the Rakhine advocacy, I have my staff, Rakhine staff. So they do the advocacy to pass through from village to village. Sometimes we have to, not sometimes, it's always, most of the time, we have to pass through the Rakhine village to get through the Rohingya village. For sure, because Rakhines live in live near
Yeah.
to the road or something like that. They have good transportation. The Rohingya villages are not in a good transportation or something like that. Some villages are not having a road or something like that. They are just on like just a muddy pathway or something like that. Yeah. So at that time, after I passed through a Rakhine village, there's a signboard, not too big, not too small. There's a signboard like 2 feet wide, and then 1 feet, in height, something like that. No entry for the Rohingya. There's a signboard. And then I took a picture together with me at that signboard. And then, the hatred is, real. No entry. If one of the Rohingyas from their own villages pass through their Rakhine village, they were beat on. They were beat on. They were trying to decapitate that trespasser. So no trespassing for the Rohingya. It is quite rude. They don't use Rohingya like, in Myanmar we call them each and every one. If we hate them, especially for the Muslim people and then also for the Indian people, we call Kala. Have you ever heard about that? So no entry, no trespassing, Kala. It's like nigger or something like that.
I was thinking about segregation in America.
I
mean, water fountains and bathrooms that said whites only. That's exactly what came to mind.
So I was shocked. At that time I realized, oh my God, my TMO said that. The township medical officer said that. That's why, it's on your own. But luckily, I'm alive, till now. At that time, So there's no trespassing each other. And then we successfully conducted a lot of our activities, especially for the nutrition, because Rohingya peoples are suffering a lot of malnutrition problem or something like that. So we've been conducting a lot. And then there is not only the risks from the Rohingya or something like that, but also we have the risks from the Rakhine. Because Rakhine don't like the organizations that trying to help the Rohingya only. They were thinking like at that time, at that time they were thinking like, you just only care about these niggers or something like that, right? These Kala or something like that. You guys neglected us. We've been poor a lot too. Yes, I can understand that. Rakhine is really poor, as you already know about that. These are the poor ethnic, state. So after we came back from the Rohingya, villages, we have to be careful about, the Rakhine's hatreds every time. But luckily, I by myself can speak some Rakhine language. But right now, I've been fluent more and more. I can speak Rakhine language, Arakanese language. So there's no problem. And then also there are also, like my assistants are also Rakhine, so they can speak very well. If you can speak Rakhine language very well, and then if you looks like Rohingya a lot, with beards, and then looks like, Rohingya a lot, they will be suspected. But as for me, it's fine for me. I shave my every time at that time. Every time. And then also I can speak Arakanese language, so Rakhine language. So it's all right for me. Luckily, I haven't encountered any problem. It's quite memorable. There are two things. One in Chin and then one in Rakhine.
Those are quite stories. I mean, from Chin, from Rakhine, from Naga, those are all quite the stories. And I'll just prompt you once more before we get to the coup and the aftermath, which is the after part of your story. But that's Putao, going to the northernmost tip of Myanmar, where there are these, where there's snow and there's mountains. So talk about what you were doing there and what those experiences were like in that community.
From Chin and Rakhine, my head office contacted me first. Would you like to go to Putao? Because we can't do much activity in Chin and Rakhine state. Do you know why? Because there are intense clashes between Myanmar military and then Arakanese army in 2019. They are quite intense. So even we've encountered a lot of, forced passages. Let me explain it to you. If we were at a village, like it is the village A point, which is way far from our, office, like in Putao, Palawat town. But there are a lot of villages between Palawat town and our village A. There are a lot of villages like B, C, D, E, or something like that. At that villages, there are frequent clashes, and clashes are happening, skirmishes are happening. Sometimes they're fighting, Rakhine army and then also Myanmar military. So we've been stuck in village A, and then we don't have anything to eat at all. Sometimes like we've been stuck like 2 or 3 days doing nothing. Because we just can't go back to Palawat, right? So we've been stuck because there, in the middle, there are a lot of clashes are fighting, So in 2019, more and more intense clashes, and then Rakhine army, they were very successful during that time. So they've been, increasing their, coverage, their liberated area. So we can't do much activity. So my head office was thinking, I was really good at remote area. I'm a good at good stuff at a remote area, and then I can bike very well. I can communicate with the ethnic groups very well. I have a good advocacy, like ability and something like that. So they decided to give me an opportunity to go to Putao, and then I happily accepted it. Because, if I go to Putao, I don't have much places of the remote areas in Myanmar to go there. Only I have to go to the remote regions, like in Kachin, some of the remote region. Shan is not too remote, as you already know about that. That's all. In Kachin and Karenni, remote villages in remote area. So I have in my mind, I have an intention at that time in my mind to go there someday. Right now, I have a chance to go to Putao. I was very happy, and then I was happily accepted the offer, and then I moved to Putao. So you can go to Putao, buying the bus, buying your own car at that time, because the road is too bumpy. And then during the rainy season, if it is the rainy season or something like that, it is quite muddy road. And then at that time, like in 2019, the transportation is really bad. If you would like to go to Putao from Myitkyina to Putao, you have to sleep maybe 2 to 3 days during the during your journey or during your trip or something like that. So we have to take a flight to Putao. Luckily, there are flights to Putao. Like at that time, I can remember 2 times a week. There were flights. So I took a flight to Putao, and then in Putao, I can see so much struggle. It is quite developed, rather than I expected. Even it is the quite remote region, because these are the Kachin area. Kachin area mean in Kachin area there are Jainfor. In Kachin, Jainfor is one of the ethnic city of Kachin, which is majority, sorry, and then also Rowan. We call it Rowan. Rowan ethnic city, and then Lisu ethnic city. They educated. It's quite different from these Chin and Rakhine. But Rakhine also have educated person or something like that. It is like the same as like Putao. They educated. So and then the town is small, but it's quite beautiful. They have a really great nature, beautiful nature. During the winter, if you're lucky, you can see the snow-capped mountain from Putao. So it is quite nice. Less struggle, more happiness at that time. So I've been in Putao like 1.5 years. Yeah. 1 year and 6 months in Putao.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long
Wow.
time. Yeah, yeah,
Goodness.
yeah.
So you really learned a lot about the community and the culture.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is expensive, but we can afford it, and then it is affordable level. Sometimes the Putao, there are some struggle. Right now, they've been struggling about that. The petrol, the petroleum, the gas.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get it easily because it is quite remote. You cannot carry the petroleum by the plane, right? Yeah, so they have to take the muddy road, the shitty road, and something like that. So it is quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there are clashes between KIA, Kachin Independence Army, and Myanmar military, in Sombrabon. Sombrabon is the halfway of the, halfway between the Myitkyina and Putao. So if there's a lot of clashes, you can buy the rice, the petrol. So at that time, it is struggling a lot. We have to struggle it a lot.
Yeah.
But if there is no clashes and then the roads are not too shitty, sometimes the roads are shitty. You have to take 7 to 8 days from Myitkyina to Putao, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't encounter such problem, it is quite great place. I've been happy a lot in Putao at that time. The streams are, really clear. And then you can see the snow-capped mountains. At that time, I have an unforgettable memory at there. As I explained it to you, at that time, before leaving the Putao, 2020 March, during the COVID, start of COVID, before the COVID, before the starting of the COVID, I did the mountaineering to the snow-capped mountain for in Razi. Yeah, it is quite unforgettable moment. And then with my teams, we are just only 4 people, but we hire navigators, and then also the porters, because it is quite different. It is not like in Nepal. It is wide, totally wide, because in Nepal, you have villages before going to the mountain, right? In Putao, there is only one last village. We call it Ziadan. It's the last village. After that, you have to walk from Ziadan to the snow-capped mountain. To and from is like 7 days at least. 7 days in the jungle on the snow-capped mountain. Yeah.
You did that.
Yeah, I did that. But we cannot be able to summit. The weather was so bad. So we just finished it to the third summit, and then we can go because the snows are quite, the snow is so snowy, and then if you put your foot, the whole of your foot, dipped in the snow, so we can walk more, so we cannot summit it.
Was that your first time in snow?
Yeah, of course, because we don't have snow in in Myanmar, because we just only have snow in Putao or something like that. Yeah, first time in snow. Yeah. So we can be able to go, and then also the weather is the weather was going bad, so that's why. And then the navigator, they are expert. They are the leaders, and then they have a lot of good knowledge about these mountains. So they suggested me, because I'm a leader, I a leader of my group for the mountaineering. So they suggested me sir, we shouldn't go farther. We should stop here unless we have to stay for the whole night during these snowy conditions without sleeping bags and something like that. The way back to our camp is, camp were also, they were informing like that, were also covered in snow, and then we wouldn't be able to go back. So we have to wait for tomorrow. So that's why we have to go back.
Right.
And then yeah. That's why they've been suggesting like that, and that's why we've been retreated. So we cannot be able to go to the summit because the other day. So we've been waiting for the good weather. The weather is worsened day by day. So we shouldn't wait. We have to go back. So we've been satisfied about that. Yeah, that summit is not bad. So it's like 11,000 feet. And now it's more than that, 11,500 feet. Actually, the summit is 12,000 feet. We've been able to reach the third summit. The second summit is like descending. The third summit is quite high, so we can see the final summit. So it's like 11,500 feet. We could be able to make it, and then we couldn't be able to make it to the summit. It's 12,000. It's just only 500 meters in my mind. Oh my gosh, why is this weather or something like that? Yeah. But it's not a problem. I got a lot of experiences, and then I have a plan to go to there again if everything is stable and something like that. Yeah. I love mountaineering, especially for the snow-capped mountain. Glaciers.
I'm from Colorado, so
great.
We have the mountains there. I live at over 8,000 feet. My town is at over 8,000 feet.
Oh, 8,000 feet.
Yeah. Right. And it's kind of cool because on top of the mountain, you could go just a few minutes down, and even though it's just a few minutes, it might be 1,000 feet. And so if you visit other towns next to my town, there'll be different weather patterns, different flora and fauna, the flowers, and even like the season that you're in might be subtly different. And you're so close, but because you're going, there's a difference in such a drastic increase or decrease in the altitude. It could just be completely different.
Sometimes, I've been experiencing that kind of high altitude situation in Naga region. In Naga, sometimes you can see the tender bolts and tender trucks under you. Tender is below you. Sometimes you can encounter like kind of that kind of weather or something like that. It is quite, it is quite giving me mixed feeling. One is it's quite strange, and then I've been having one is I was frightened because you can hear a loud noise, from the tender. So it is quite disturbing or something like that. It's quite frightening.
Yes, thunder can be.
Have you ever encountered in Colorado that kind of experiences?
Yeah, well, what's interesting about Colorado is that you can see storms that are happening very far away. I've never been in any other place where you could do that. So you can look and see in the distance a thunderstorm and dark clouds happening over there, and then you could look in a different direction and you could just see beautiful light that's happening in another place. There have been sometimes I've been in the car and I've had almost like a dream sequence experience where either in front or in back, depending on how it is, in one direction it's pure blackness and dark and gloom, and the other direction it's beautiful light, and there is no sunlight in the world like mountain light. The sun that comes at altitude, it's not like anything you experience anywhere in the world. It is so beautiful. It's so you wouldn't, it's interesting because you wouldn't think that we're so far from the sun that you wouldn't think that just a few thousand feet would really make a difference in how you feel the sun, but you do. It feels very different and it looks very different. And so there have been times it feels like we're escaping hell and like the darkness is all behind us and we're driving towards the light. And then there are other times where it's the opposite, where it feels like we're leaving the light and we're driving into this apocalypse, in front of us. Because like the weather patterns are just they're all around you, and sometimes you can look 360 and you can see 5 different weather patterns happening.
Yeah, sometimes you are driving into apocalypse. Sometimes you are trying to escape from apocalypse or something like that. It might be
Yeah, that's right. And also because when you're in the mountains, different weather patterns change very quickly and affect towns that are quite close to each other. And so there could be one extreme weather system somewhere, and very close by there could be a completely different weather system.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But your comment that sometimes it seems like you're driving into an apocalypse, sometimes it seems like you're escaping one. There could not be a better segue into moving into the coup and post-coup. And as we look at the coup, and I think this is a philosophical question we can ask as we approach it, is are we in a period of heading towards an apocalypse, or are we driving away from one, or are we doing a little bit of both? But I want to set up, now what happened with the coup. And before that, I just want to give another comment that, your stories and the immersive feeling you're giving for these communities, it's really just mesmerizing, and it's wonderful in the sense of I've often thought that diversity anywhere is such a privilege. It's such a pleasure. It's so you're so fortunate to be able to learn from a community that does things so differently. And I mean, anything from trying to fund food to a different way of life to a different scenery to something much deeper. And I think to me, what's always been something of a tragedy of Myanmar is that we often talk about the ethnics and the communities not as the privilege of being able to access something at our doorstep that is so wonderful for us to learn from, but we talk about the tensions and how fraught it is and the conflict and the impossibility of all these different ethnics. And what I really appreciate about the storytelling that you're doing is that while you're not painting a Disneyland picture, you're certainly describing very intense scenes of conflict and prejudice and hatred. You're not shying away from that. But what stands out from the stories, in between the lines of the stories that you're telling, is this delight, which I want to hear more of and I want to see more of in Myanmar, this delight. How lucky are we that we have the ocean, we have the mountains, we have this religion, this ethnicity, this community, these people are far away, this is going back in time, this is, all of this. And that it's, yes, there's some tensions and some very serious tensions that have to be worked out, but this is where it could be going, is how fortunate we are to be able to learn from each other. And that, again, as you're moving into these places, you're not doing it as a privileged tourist that is simply trying to get an adventure, but you're really trying to do right and learn by the communities and bring your skills and talents. But as you're doing so, it's reciprocal. You're also realizing how much they have to give you and how much you can change from that experience. Why go to France? Why go to Australia when you can go to Nagaland and Chin? You get to learn so much there. And so, I just want to take a moment to appreciate and reflect what it is you're bringing from those stories and from those experiences. And I think that really sets up the stage for where we get to February 1st, 2021, and how dramatically things change then. So
actually, we had a good time, but before the military coup, we even encountered COVID, which the strike has forced. Yeah. It is kind of light, in compared to coup. Coup is quite intense, it's like slap in our face. It was like, I can feel about that. I can feel tensions or something like that. Yeah, before the coup, there are a lot of adventures. Actually, I was living in my life. I was really, really happy. To be at that area. It was quite fruitful, youthful, and then also you have a lot of experiences. I was really, really happy at that time. During that time, I don't want to sweeten all about their activities of mine or something like that. But sometimes I was encountering, like, as you already explained it to me, like ethnic tensions, difficulties and something like that. But among them, sometimes you might not forget about some of the threats in your life during your adventurous situation. As for me, it's leeches. Leeches. The bloodsuckers. Yeah. It is quite dangerous. I hate leeches in Naga. I hate leeches in Chin, and then I hate leeches in Putao. Putao is the worst thing for the leeches. Even in your own, bed, or maybe in your own land. You are living in town, right? Yeah. There are leeches.
In bed?
Sometimes in bed.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. I have my experience. One night, a leech together with me, and then it sucks me all off. And then it was like, at the morning, I didn't realize it. At the morning, I was like, I have a strange feeling or something like that. I look at my food. Yeah. There's a leech. And he sucked it all out of my blood, and he's like, like a big size. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah. It's horrifying, I'm not complaining about the leeches in Naga region. In Naga region, if you are in town, there are no leeches. But in Putao, there are leeches in town. It's like a leech town. So it is quite dangerous.
Wow.
Because while you're sleeping, if the leech go into your ears or something like, it's quite dangerous.
Oh no, really? Oh, this is getting worse.
Yeah. Actually, there are not such kind of incidents, but you can imagine that. Just thinking about it. I was walking with a leech on my foot.
Yeah.
If that kind of leech don't stay on my foot, if it came across to my body, and then if it came across through my the hole, maybe ear or maybe like nose or something like that, it would be apocalypse.
Yeah, I don't think the Putao Tourism Board is very happy with the direction that this conversation is going. Just as we talk about how wonderful Putao is with its snow-capped peaks, I think we're now killing the potential tourism that can go there post-coup.
Actually, I was encountering that kind of problem because I was not living in a hotel. I was living like the local. That's why.
Right.
If the tourists they were living in a hotel, it's quite beautiful. There are no leeches at all.
Then they're good. So go to Putao, it's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. Because I've been encountering that kind of leeches problem. Is I was living among the local. But someone might want to experience about some tourists might if some tourists would like to experience about the leeches and then adventurous way.
Sure.
I just would like to suggest them just stay like a local.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
If they are afraid of it, no. You don't have to stay like a local. You just only have to witness the great scenes, great experiences and something like that. You can stay at the hotel. The hotels are quite varied. Some hotels are really expensive and then quite beautiful. Some hotels are not. But for the tourism in Myanmar, literally, Myanmar is cheaper in hotels. You already know about that. So if it is even quite expensive for our local people, it is not expensive in the tourist way or something like that. So you guys can afford it for sure. It's like like $100 a night or something like that, maximum. But it is quite expensive for us, for Myanmar people. Yeah, we just would like to spend like $10 or something like that for a night. $100 like for 10 nights or something like that. Yeah. But $100 for a hotel during your trip, from the point of Westerners or maybe from Australian or something like that, it is quite cheap, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So that was the end of my adventure part. So after that, let's start about the February 1st, 2021.
Right.
It is like kind of resistance.
Yeah.
As I explain it to you first, before February 1st, 2021, I can remember it is January 30 night. I was in Yangon. We have a lot of rumors about the military coup, and then most of the people are cautious what will happen. Especially we got a rumor about there will be a military coup 31st January 2021. Most of the people got these kind of messages, especially the one who is related to who is near to party and political or something like that. So I'm also the one near to the NLD party or something like that at that time. And then also I was not far away from the politics, as you already know about that. So we've been cautious. At that time, we've been waiting. January 30, 2021, we've been waiting and we've been drinking whiskey for the whole night. If there is a coup at there, dawn or something like that, we didn't sleep. We've been waiting what will happen. Like internet cut off, or maybe phone line cut off, or like some announcement or something like that. But it didn't happen. So why did we think the coup will happen 31st January 2021 instead of 1st February 2021? Because 1st February 2021, each and every elected members of parliaments will be attending their, parliament, and then also in Naypyidaw and something like that, So the military only has a chance if they would like to take down with a coup for the elected government. The best chance is 31st January. We've been thinking like that. It might be new to me. New to you. It might be new to you, but we've been thinking like that, especially from the NLD party and most of the, people from the political society or something like that. So we've been waiting, but there is nothing happen. There was nothing happen. So we was like a relief. So there might not be a coup. It might be okay because these military guys don't have so much time to perform a coup. We didn't expect they will do at the morning of the 2021st February 1st. So because the February 1st is the parliamentary day, so we thought that their chance is over, but they did it. So at that morning, I've been woke up. First thing is when I check my internet, the internet is gone. At that time, I realized that we've been fucked.
Yeah.
Now, there may be a coup, or maybe like a treason, like killing to Aung San Suu Kyi, the lady, or something like that. There might be something bad is happening because there is internet connection cut off. There was like that. So I didn't go to my office. Actually, we have to go to our office, to attend like a usual day, like, to attend the office or something like that, So I didn't go to the office, and then I've been waiting for the internet, and then we didn't get the internet back, but we got the phone line connections first. At that time, we've been informed that there was a coup in Naypyidaw, and then the president, and then the state councillor, Dosu, was detained. So both of them detained, and then there are a lot of arbitrary arrest, detainments are happening in Naypyidaw and in everywhere. So we have to be careful about that. So one of my political friends called me and then informed me. So okay, so what? And then I asked, one thing is, what will we do? And then we've been discussing. At that time, most of the NLD party members are, fleeing from their home or something like that, So because their safety is, at high risk. So I don't have so much chance to discuss with them, especially MP from Yangon, because I was living in Yangon at that time. So I contact to their party's supporter. What shall we do? What shall we do? My question is, what shall we do? Shall we go out? Shall we make a protest? What shall we do? And then after that, they didn't give me an exact answer. So, luckily, U Wintang, from NLD, was like, we can't be, like silence all the time. We have to do something. And then I approved that whatever kind of action you would like to make. So he was like talking like these messages to us at the evening, like in 5 p.m. in Yangon. So I decided what to do. So I was thinking what to do. What can we do? Are we really go out to protest? We have a lot of dark history in '88. What if we shot down by the real gun? So I'm out of idea.
Is this February 1st you're having the conversation?
February 1st.
Yeah,
February
okay.
1st.
Right.
I'm out of idea, and then also there was no instruction from the bigger guy of NLD, because they've been detained, the party or something like that. And then also I didn't able to get any updated messages from my old student unions. In Myanmar there are two strong opposition groups to military. One is NLD party, the party side, and then one is, as you already know, the student union leaders. And that's the students. So as the student, but they don't have much kind of idea. They are just only trying to focus on protest. So they will do whatever it takes. At that time, we got the internet connection back. And then the people are, in chaos. And then some are spreading false information. The country is in chaos, in my mind. And then I was quite thinking about it. How can we show our opposition to the military coup without going protest? Because if we go out to the road, we have a risk to be shot down, right? Because in 1988, they shot down with the real guns, with the real bullets.
Yeah.
So I was brainstorming by myself and then gathering information from my friends. And then I decide one thing is, what about Gandhi's way? Mahatma Gandhi's way. How can we protest? Because Gandhi is not, Gandhi was not going out to the road or something like that. They were just inside their home. So what should we do? Who should we focus? Normal people, or maybe government servants or students? Who should we focus? And then after that, I was enlightened by an idea. I believe that 11 p.m. 1st February 2021. It's almost midnight. And then I was enlightened, and then I talked to some of our friends, because I'm a doctor, so I have a lot of doctor friends. How about we do not go to the hospitals? We are not going to work. Me too. I won't go to work, even if I'm not a civil servant. I won't go to my organization's work. What about stopping the mission? We would like to stop all the mission. So the military would be in deep shit if we can stop the mission. Their governmental procedure, their governmental works, their governmental machineries, and something like that. So the first one who agreed to that kind of idea is from the doctors, especially from the assistant sergeant. We do not call there are a lot of different usages for the medical doctor, in different countries. In US they call other way. In UK they call other way. So just like medical officer, we call it assistant sergeant in civil servant. So assistant sergeant, AS, we call it AS. So the assistant sergeants agreed. Most of the assistant sergeants from, I remember it, Naypyidaw is the capital city, so Naypyidaw, and then also Mandalay, and then also Magway, like central region, and then also some of the assistant sergeants from Rangoon agree not to go to the hospital. We'll stop the government activities or something like that, so they cannot do anything. But at that time, I was thinking a lot. We are the service ministry, right? We are the service. We are the service people or something like that. So we are not the first priority. We are the first, but we are not the first priority to beat down the military's mechanism for administration. So we have to convince the other sectors, especially like banking and then administration, to join the CDM. But firstly, we have to do it as an example. I believe like that, to do it as an example. So whatever it takes, don't go to the hospital. And then after that, each and every hospital, not only assistant sergeants, but also nurses, but also specialists, doctors, and most of the hospitals are not functioning at 3rd February 2021. So we've been successful. So the rest we have to do is we had to convince the other sectors. So the first after us, is the teachers. And then I was like, oh my God, the education is also service people. So it is not okay. But whatever it takes, we have to show our like strength or something like that. So welcome them. So they join the CDM, and then after that, the Myanmar Railway join the CDM, and then after. But the military is quite, you don't have to think they are dumb. They are quite clever. They just shut down the Central Bank of Myanmar with their barricades. And then they just shut down the most important, ministry, departments, especially in the downtown of Yangon, with their barricades, with their guns, to prevent, joining the CDM from these kind of important administrative and financial sector staff, civil servants. Even this kind of struggle, they were just not putting barricades or something like that. Do you remember a picture in front of a Central Bank of Myanmar? There was an APC, ambassador carrier, some tank. Even that, we try to protect these civil servants to join the CDM or something like that. They arrange to and fro, like ferry with like soldier guarding these central bank staff or something like that. So they're quite clever. They were quite clever, yeah. Actually, we would like to beat down the central bank and then administration and financial sector, not the service sectors or something like that. But when they were, the military were doing like that, we don't have so much chance to convince them. And then they were quite afraid of these staff from the central bank, and then also administration departments were quite afraid of, not afraid of the salary, quite afraid of the accommodation. We couldn't be able to, solve these kind of problem, because if you are bank staff, central staff, you have an accommodation in city like Yangon, and then it is not only for you, you can accommodate your own family. So these are their fear. So they don't want to join us. Not everyone. We need more than 60% of CDM from that kind of, ministry, but we just only have like 30%. There are 60 or 70% remaining as functional way for the military government. Yeah, that's quite memorable. And then, so at that time, like as I said, February 1st, we call the Civil Disobedience Movement, and then I was like a loudspeaker, and then I was connecting to other like Godeza, the leader from Mandalay, Deza Sen. We've been discussing a lot, and Mandalay groups, and then they also agree. And then after that, we realized that one thing is, we were just like Rangoon is a group, medical CDM group, one group, and then Mandalay is one medical CDM group, and then Zagai, Magway, and Naypyidaw by myself. I call it out by myself, is one group. So there are like 3 different medical CDM groups. So I was like discussing with some of the CDM activists from Rangoon and Mandalay, and then we decided to combine all the groups, and then we decided to combine, and we have to do the activity at that time for the CDMR support, and then also like political activities and something like that. So we combined it, and then we founded CDM Medical Network. Yeah, now it has our Facebook page with our verified mark, and then on 7 February 2021, we combined all the medical CDM not only the medical doctors, nurses, everyone throughout the whole country. We combine all of the representatives from each and every department and hospital. We call them, and then we put them into a group. Signal group is a large group, like 400 persons in a group or something like that. But they are just only, representatives and co-representatives. There are more CDMs, CDMers, and like at their hospital and then also their department. They were just representative. We have like 46,000 around 46,000 medical CDM. So the representatives were like 400 to 500. But in total, there will be a lot of representatives, like 700. I estimated it, because we are not the only one CDM organization. There are some medication CDM organization. They are just regional. Like for Rakhine, they have Children Medical Network, but they are just focusing right now on medical humanitarian activities rather than the CDM, because CDM became regional. So we've been going through the federal units or something like that. So that's why. And then there are also another CDM organization we call Medical Family Mandalay, MFM, and then they are also doing their jobs or something like that. But we do have medical CDMs and medical representatives in Rakhine, Children Medical Networks region, and then also in Mandalay too, which is Medical Family Mandalay's area or something like that. So we combined it, and then we founded it, CDM Medical Network. And then after the foundation of the CDM Medical Network, we did a lot of activities at that time. And then we did protest, not protest by the CDM Medical Network name, by the name of CDM Medical Network, each and individual. We called it White Coat Society Yangon, in Yangon. In Mandalay, Medical Family Mandalay arranged protests and something like that for the medical sectors. After that, we try to support the CDM, who join the CDM people, because they won't have any kind of support from the military government or something like that. So we implemented a program. We call it Wanyijok. Wanyijok is like nobody is accounting, not a single person. Not a single person is accountable for all of the CDMers. Each and every individual have to take the collective leaderships, and then to help the CDMers around you. So let me explain it by the example. The system is, if I have 2 or 3 CDM friends around me, like you are like a CDMers or something like that, you've been struggling for your daily basis needs and something like that. So I will take care of you too. Not by the organization, because I have my job, so I can spare you something like that. And if you need accommodation, I will arrange you, because I can afford for like a 1 or 2 person, something like that. We call it Wanyijok, and then it's like more of a collective, accountability or something like that. So we implemented the program, and then after Wanyijok, and the CRPH had to be founded. The CRPH called the first, parliamentary meeting or something like that. So we have to stick to the plan. So after that, NUCC was founded, and then also the Federal Charter was drafted, and then also the People's Conference, the first time People's Conference or NUCC is finished. So the political leaders were trying to form the National Unity Government. So after the foundation of National Unity Government, the Ministry of Health, National Unity Government collaborated our organization, CDM Medical Network, officially. Actually, they would like to put our organization as their department, but we want some kind of, freedom. So we were just collaborating. But we were just collaborating, but we were working we were working with them, a lot. We are still working with them a lot, something like that. But according to the charter of our organization, CDM Media Network, we were just collaborating, to get some kind of, organizational freedom. If we were acting like a department under the ministry, we will be totally, under the influence of the ministry. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, and then we've been founded, way more earlier, 7th February 2021. So this organization deserve some kind of, freedom. Yeah, so that's why we all agree, the leaders agree, executives agree. So we will just collaborate. So at that time, we've been working with the National Unity Government, and then the Ministry of Health is expanding. We've been, providing human resources for them because we have a lot of CDM. Actually, CDM's role is important, actually, because the NUG is standing by the support of CDM, as you already know. Because the CDM can do a lot of works for their own ministry. You cannot, operate a ministry or maybe, on ground level, field level works or something like that without CDM. As you can imagine, even for the Ministry of Health. So who do I have to hire, If we hire outside doctors, we have to pay a lot. But the CDMs, they are just volunteering till now on ground with a lot of, risk by the airstrike or maybe skirmishes or something like that. Yeah. So NUG have a lot of, a lot of help from the CDMers. So yeah, it is important for NUG, in my point of view. Even as for me, at that time, since our collaboration, I didn't take any official position at the ministry, but I was working. I'm still working together with the ministry for the Ministry of Works, not for my own organization and works, for the Ministry of Works. I've been serving as a deputy director of the National Tuberculosis Program, TB program, and DCB, and then also I'm a member of planning team, and then also I'm a member of, National Malaria Control Program. So I'm doing, my kind of, public health activities right now, working for NUG. But I don't have any kind of, like ministerial, assignment or appointment or something like that, because we've been collaborating, right? No, we are not under the NUG for totally sure. Yeah, that's fine. We've been collaborating. So after that, I've been involved in comprehensive economic sanctions matter together with their trade unions. I will do whatever I have to win this revolution, because as I explained to you, I really hate military. Actually, military didn't, give me troubles, anything in particularly, or maybe in personally. I just don't like the military because of them, the country. Our country is rich in culture, rich in natural resources, rich in everything. But they destroy the country, the natural resources, and then also the educational system of the people. So that's why I don't like the military. That's why I have to oppose. The military never, ever encounter with me. I've never been in jail, for sure. But if they arrest me, I've been in jail. So I was just escaping or something like that. I was never been in jail in history. During my time in university, they were like special branches police always following around me, but they never put me in jail for once. But some of my colleges put them colleges were detained, and they've been in jail or something like that. As you already know about that, there are a lot of political prisoners in Myanmar. I've never been in jail, for sure. So that's why it's not, the hatred is not personal. The hatred is, the military is oppressing its own people. That's why I hate it. They don't take responsibilities. They abuse a lot. That's why I don't like them. So let me get back to my works. So I will do whatever I can to win this, revolution, to end this coup. So I joined with the trade unions, and then labor unions, labor alliance, and then I help them a lot with their sanctions component. We are not only targeting the aviation fuel, we target every economic sanctions. So we call it comprehensive economic sanctions. Comprehensive, but not the humanitarian sanction. For all of the economic sanction, like investment of Zara, H&M in Myanmar, we call them to leave, because they've been paying a lot of taxes to their Myanmar military. With these tests, they've been bombing to us. That's why. At first, some of the targeted sanctions group from the revolution do not agree with us. They didn't agree with us. No, we should do just only targeted for the aviation fuel or something like that. No, we were explaining to the Ministry of Labor, National Unity Government, and also other groups like Black Money Campaign or something like that. You guys should do the targeted sanction. This is good. This is like these kinds are like snipers, right? In a war, you cannot win a war with only snipers, right? Do you agree with me that? You also need any other assault rifles like machine guns or something like that. So we guys like machine guns. We have to suppress. We have to do the suppressing fire for all of the, we have to give them the pressure for the international, multinational enterprises, corporations and something like that. So by giving them the pressure, the sniper can shoot really well. So we explain it to them and then go on your own way. Don't join with us. It's not a problem. Target an aviation fuel. No problem. Go there. And then also we'll do also the comprehensive economic sanctions, because we have to do it. We would like to do the SWIFT, the banking system for the sanctions or something like that, but we didn't successful so much. We wasn't successful so much. Yeah. I don't know what's the problem, but we were just more focusing on a lot of economic sanctions. So by our efforts, day by day, years by years, finally ILO, International Labour Organizations, accept our cases, and then they are now trying to impose broader sanctions to Myanmar military. I've been witness in ILO with the help of my colleagues from the labor union. So I've been witness by the Hagues, by the Hagues, prosecutor and then jurisdiction and something like that. I've witnessed about CDM at the ILO, inquiry council. Yeah. So we've been gathering a lot of informations, like evidences of the human rights violation of the SAC. And then we've been successful during this ILO Article 33 meeting, ILO conference. We've been successful. Yeah. Now we're trying to do more wider sanctions, like comprehensive sanctions to the military. We're trying it. So this is one of my activities. And then also, I am right now serving as a political coordination team leader in my CDM Medical network. So most of the political affairs, I have to go to other, like committees, like groups or something like that, related with politicals and CDM.
Yeah.
So me and my two other colleagues mainly lead a working group, and then we try to collaborate with a lot of representatives from a lot of CDM groups. We've been successfully held the CDM conference online, just only online, with only not with each and every CDM, but just only with the CDM leaders. It is around about 500 to 1,000 audience sizes. We've been successfully held, and we've been successfully completed 2 times. It is quite difficult to do it. There are a lot of political turmoils, and then also there are a lot of pressures. We are under a lot of pressures, but we need to do it. That's why we did it, and then most of them collaborated. that was one of my success story. We did 2 times because we need to gather the CDM strength. After the coup, years by years, the CDMs are scattered. As you may know about that, you can see about it. At the first of the coup, at the first of the resistance, CDMs are bigger and stronger, and then we've been in a group. We are not scattered. We are together. We have a good strength. But after years by years, turning into the armed conflicts and armed resistance, so the CDMs are scattered across the region. Some CDMs are currently trying to stay in Western country. Some are trying to stay in a second country like us. So a lot of scattered people. That's why we have to regroup the CDMers. So we contact to the CDM leads, and then we held 2 times for the conference. So we were working these the results from the action plans from the conference right now, and then we were trying to call the 3rd time conference, and then we were trying to found an organization for whole of the CDMers, the independence organization for whole of the CDMers. We were trying to do it right now. And this is another text for me. And then, for politically, I have a lot of friends from NUCC, and then I have political society, medical political society, and then general political society or something like that. I've been, involving in this kind of, groups, discussion, committees, sometimes youth forums, conferences, political conferences. They invited me as an individual, sometimes by the representative of my organization, sometimes it is individual, and then sometimes workshops as a speaker. I'm a speaker as a workshop. These are my activities, like political activities. So apart from political activities and CDM activities, I'm a doctor, and then I'm a public health specialist. So we founded, actually me and my colleagues founded a medical humanitarian organization, which is called Heartland Union. We are trying to do a website about that. But right now we've been struggling about it, by the financial problem, and then also some of the ID issue. But soon, I think within 1 month, and then we could be able to found a website, So we founded that the medical humanitarian organization since 2022, November. But at first, we were doing these kind of activities, humanitarian activities by the local well-wishers. But after years and years of struggling during the coup, the people cannot donate us anymore. That's why in 2023, we firstly trying to seek international help, and then we won a small grant about a cyclone response, MOCA. Have you noticed about that? We had a cyclone called MOCA. So it is our first project, and then after that we got more and more projects, and then right now my organization Heartland Union is implementing primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, and then also disease control activities in Central Dry region, especially in Myay region, in our liberated area, not the SAC control area. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have some kind of big projects like big penny size or something like that. It is quite good. Right now I have to focus on that kind of projects, and then on my organization. So I have to, as for me, I have to work for I have to spread my time. Yeah. This hour to this hour is for organization. This hour is this hour to NUG. This hour and this hour is to political and CDM activities. But most of the CDM activities and political activities are not, like a daily basis. I just only have to attend, when there is, a seminar, or when there is a conference, or when there is, like a meeting or something like that. It is not quite frequent, so it is good for me. I can do it. But for the organization, medical humanitarian organization, Heartland Union, and for the NUG, there are more meetings. Especially my organization have more meetings because we are working remotely. So Sometimes it is more meeting than NUG. Sometimes yeah. But because my organization is I didn't expect it. It is quite fast. From a small organization to a big organization.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Currently, like I have annual budget like 300K to 500K in total. No, not only 500K. 300K to 600K. It is quite nice in USD. No, not in not in THB. So it's like 500K USD or something like that approximately.
These are grants and donations you've received.
Yeah. I have like so many grants.
That's great.
But yeah, I have like 6 grants.
Yeah.
2 or 3 is the major grants, and then small grants, and then it is like a lot of grants. Like I have like 6 grants in total. So annual budget for my organization is like 500K. It's quite nice.
That's incredible, and you're doing so much, and I just want to take the moment to appreciate this time you've sat down and talk with us, given how much your time, how much you're being pulled in different directions, and just to reflect back on this post-coup journey, and I know we're coming to the end of our time, and I'm conscious of the time that you've given us. So I guess the last question I'd like to ask is referencing the first part of your post-coup journey, because after February 1st, I think that there's a number of notable firsts that we'll never forget. There's the first moment that there was some kind of some public demonstration or speech. That was Taysar Sand and Mandalay. I think it was February 5th or something that happened. There was tragically the first innocent nonviolent protester who was killed on video.
Yeah, the first one is in Naypyidaw.
That's right. That's right.
Naypyidaw, Myay Latt. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
She's the first one.
Yeah, and there's a terrible video of that happening. There's the first time that there was maybe the first time in the country or first time in Yangon that there was some kind of resistance or fight back to the military, and that was when the military truck was burned in Sancheon. There was the first act of resistance, which is credited to Kalay in Chin State. So there's all these firsts, and I'm giving those kind of lists of first things that happened because I want to underscore, you slipped in there at the beginning of your story and then went on to all of these other details, but to go back and underscore, am I to understand that you're saying that the entire civil disobedience movement, which we know was started by doctors and medical, we know that, but you're telling us that it was February 1st, 11 p.m., where you had an idea, you had an inception of an idea, and this idea that you had at 11 p.m., February 1st, this was the first, this is another first. So this is a first moment that led to launching the entire CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement, can be traced back to that time with your thought. Is that, I want to make sure I understand this correctly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, exactly. We have some kind of pages that are not functioning right now. We call it Civil Disobedience Movement page. We use it as a propaganda, for the CDM, joining the CDM, like information sharing pages or something like that. Yeah, we still have it as an archive, and then after that we have our page. These are I had contacted with a lot of ID teams, like for the Facebook or something like that, to get verified, because there are a lot of misinformation. The audience need, the people need, the CDMers need. The verifying, we use social media a lot. As you already know about, the Facebook is our main platform. So we need verifying pages, and then we did it. I get these verifying pages for that kind of pages. Luckily, 11 p.m. I got an idea, like Mahatma Gandhi ways or something like that. So not to go to hospital, not to go to the office, not to go to the department office and something like that. We would start doing that, including me or something like that. But it is quite funny. I'm not a civil servant.
Right, that is funny. I see
that is funny. That is funny. I'm not a civil servant. I was just like an CDM activist or something like that. So sometimes I feel very sad for them. especially when I see, I would like to express my gratitude and expression. When I see the CDM, one of the CDMs are struggling, to go through something like that. That's why I was always helping them, as much as I can. And then I didn't stop my CDM activities, even I'm not CDM, till now, I'm working for them, I'm still working for them, But, together with them, I try to sympathize, and I try to, to more involved in revolution. I quit my job as well. But I quit my job after the. Actually, I have a plan to quit my job from the medical humanitarian organization at July 2021. Not July, June 2021. But at the late June and earliest of July, there was a tragic event. The Delta wave of COVID hit the country first. Yeah. So I became the first volunteer for my organization to fight with the COVID. So I had to manage a COVID center for like 1 month and a half, maybe like nearly 2 months. So I can't resign during that time, So after the COVID, I resigned from my post, and then actually most of the directors are like, you shouldn't resign, So they don't want me to resign, but I resigned it. And then they asked me, why do you resign? Do you have any, like any problems or something? No, I don't have anyone. And then I told them, to the importance, the writers and my colleagues, I resigned because I would like to join the resistance for full time.
But this is remarkable because you're talking about the inception of an idea that came singularly from your mind at this moment and thinking how to formulate, that then went on to launch a movement that, in your words, and I think many would agree with you, has that with everything else in the revolution, from the armed struggle to the sanctions to the NUG to federal democracy charter they're working on, anything else you want to put out there, that the CDM is at the heart of it, that the CDM is what sustained so much of it, and is what's been so creative and innovative. And so you're telling this story, and to go back to your earlier stories, if you fell down 5 times off of those Naga cliffs,
exactly,
you almost got lost forever in the jungle. You could have stepped on a landmine. You could have run into an AA patrol. You could have been beheaded in Rakhine State. All of these mishaps and adventures you had. Could have had an avalanche in Putao. All of these avalanches you had, all of these near misses that you had, you've been spared. And from the way you're telling the story, if you were not there at that moment and had the thought that you had, referencing Gandhi, then this whole revolution and everything that came after could have turned out differently. Just to put that perspective to our audience. Do you ever think like that?
No, I don't know, because we can control our future. So I don't know what to say about that. It just happened. Everything is just happening. Because, I'm a Buddhist, so I believe in, right here, right now moment. I am not, worrying about the future, for sure. And then I don't regret about my, past. I was just living the moment. But sometimes, I'm a human being. So this kind of, situation, I've been depressed. So if I'm depressed, I work more. I work hard. That's my strategy. And sometimes, if I'm too depressed, I meditate.
What tradition do you meditate in?
No, just only not not for the vipassana. Vipassana. It's just only for the samatha. Samatha is like you are knowing your breathe in and breathe out. And then at the same time, I've been reflecting by myself. Everything and everyone, it's temporary,
impermanent.
Exactly. Anisa, exactly.
Anisa.
Yeah. Sometimes I do it like 20 minutes. Yeah, if I'm, encountering such kind of, depression, mood or something like that, such kind of problem or something like that.
Is it a particular teacher or technique, the way you practice?
Actually, I just said only, particular teacher for meditation, like Mogok Charapyai, Mogok way, not Mahasi, since my childhood.
Yeah.
So I've been used to it. Yeah. And then the cycle or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm a doctor, so I was like that. It is quite interesting. I would like to share with you. I'm a science guy, right? And then on the other hand, I also, believe the Buddha's philosophy. So I was like 60% in me, about my brain and about my philosophy, about my situation. 60% of, like Buddhism, and then 40% of like Scientologists, something like that. I'm just quite, mixed one. I don't want to discuss about the nirvana. It is just quite kind of, end of suffering or something like that. I believe in nirvana, maybe or maybe not. It is not, a drawback to me, But right now, I am not practicing for nirvana. I'm just doing, what is right, what is wrong.
Yeah.
What's the Dhamma? What should I do as a human being? So that's what I do right now. It's very basic symbol of, simple facts and very basic fundamental procedure of Buddhism, right? So I was just doing like that. Yeah. Currently.
The Patisamuppada from Mogok, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So these are the kind of, my stress relief ways or something like that. Yeah. And then I would like to share one of the struggle during this revolution after the coup. It's, sometimes I can't think about what the military leaders were thinking. They are so inhumane. Especially I'd like to give you an example. Right now, since 2022, there are a lot of airstrikes to the public places.
Right.
Like, hospitals, clinics, schools. There are a lot of airstrikes. And then they've been intensifying year by year. So how could they do that? I can't think of that. That's why I thought, Actually, I know a soldier may die, or a soldier shall die in the battlefield, right? So they can just bomb if they know. If there is PDF camp or something like that, I won't complain. We are, fighting each other. I won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But why? Why? Why the civilian target?
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't understand. Are they even human beings?
They see everyone as the enemy.
Yeah, they see everyone as an enemy, except from them.
Yeah.
They have no people. That sucks.
Yeah.
But the more bombing, the problem is what I'm struggling about it. Why the war? The whole war cannot stop that kind of very simple attacks from these guys doing.
Right.
That's why, actually I had a lot of meeting with a UN special reporter, Tom Andrews. Do you know Tom Andrews? With the ball guy. So I always report him, and then he always report to UN General Assembly, Security Council, everyone.
Yeah.
But nothing's happened.
No, and he's very passionate.
Yeah, but nothing happens.
I know.
That's a problem.
I can't see how he could do better either.
Yeah. Actually, he is trying to do better.
He is.
No, I mean, everyone is trying to do. Tremendous is trying the best. I'm trying the best. But when the decision came, why can't they? It's totally bad.
There's not the political will. That's what it comes down to. And how do you create political will? That's what we're all trying to do. But all we can do is move the needle just a small amount.
Yeah. Actually, according to the international humanitarian law, as you already know about that, IHO, you cannot bomb the civilians area.
Of course not. No.
So that's a breach.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a breach by the military.
Yes.
If they don't want, even if they don't want the international community and UN, if they don't want to involve in our politics or something like that, no, not involve, but just look at us. Just, set in a no-fly zone or maybe no-fly zone is if it is too much or something like that, just warning to like military.
Right.
Yeah, military not to bomb the civilians or
Not
something
even
like that.
Yeah.
They're not even doing that.
Yeah, I know.
That sucks. That's why sometimes I even feel like, do I have a faith in our people, in all of the people?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this world,
Yeah.
and UN.
Yeah.
So do the human have the humanity?
Right.
Do the human still have the humanity?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I'm not asking, requesting so much. I'm just actually I would like to blame the doer is the one we have to blame them.
Sure.
They shouldn't do it at all. So if you see someone is beating their child recklessly, and then oppress a lot, if you witness it, you have to stop.
You do.
If I see like this, I will stop them. No, why are you doing like that? I will stop them.
You have some complicity.
Yeah.
If you're able to stop, if you're in a position where you're able to stop someone with a club from swinging it down on a child, and you don't step in and stop it, then you may not be the perpetrator, but you're also complicit in some way in that activity.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be seen that way.
Yeah, I don't have to punish this, this father or something like that, this father or something like that. I will just stop the action.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah.
Why can't the world can do that about that?
Yeah.
Why can't they do about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did an interview with Ola Elvston, who's a Norwegian member of parliament who's been a long supporter of Myanmar. And when I spoke to him about the international response and his condemnation, his feeling was that, we as in the international community, we missed our chance right when the coup happened. Immediately when it happened, we knew it was wrong. We knew that this should not happen. We should not have tolerated it for even a moment. When the crackdown started, we knew it was wrong. And so it was just, in his view, it was this sense of this wider international community when they had the chance, atrocity after atrocity and breach of law after breach of law, one thing after the other. It was silence and silence and silence, and then it just. And I remember, I remember doing interviews during those first few months after the coup, and I remember asking people that had, asking an R2P expert or asking a former diplomat or the various people we were interviewing. I remember asking, what is the line that if they cross this line, then it's going to be like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that. You can't do that, because it just felt like we were witnessing in those first few months one line after another being overrun. And I remember asking this R2P expert just a few months after the coup, saying, what lines are there left? And he said, I don't know what there are. I don't, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this, they violated everything. I don't know what line is left, what line you draw after all these other lines have been violated that you're like, oh, now you've stepped over this line. So, going back to what Ola Elvston said then from the Norwegian parliament, that that there was this tolerance on the part of the international community that just kept coming after one action, after another action, after another action, that then suddenly you just get, if you go back to your analogy of beating a child, maybe you see that it's about to happen, you see it happen once in a kind of a fit of anger, and then it starts to be habitual and it starts to be bad, and it just keeps happening. But I don't know, somehow you've just been silenced and haven't found the spine or the will to speak up. And then suddenly you're living in an environment where a child is just being brutally beaten every single day. You've come to expect it. You know what's happening. You know what's going to happen. You haven't spoken before, so you're not going to speak now. And you're just living in a community where this child is just getting brutally beaten day after day after day. And it's not only something that doesn't surprise us, it's not only something that we expect, it's something that if it doesn't seem to happen one particular day, we'd be shocked, because this has now become a norm. This has now become a norm that we've acknowledged that is not going to be punished. We're not going to step in. It's a norm that is now just going to happen, into the future, and no one's going to do anything about it, except once in a while we're going to say, oh, that shouldn't be happening. But then it's gonna go on.
And then the entire, society will go on as a barbarian,
That's right.
Yeah. So it is a bad thing, and then no one is stopping. So it's like, like new normal, and then it's like it will be norms, and then it will be normal things or something like that, beating a child or something like that.
Yeah.
So if it is like that, we are not a human, we are barbarian. It's a barbarian act.
I mean, I was speaking to members of the Asian Parliamentarians of Human Rights on the podcast, and they were looking at it from an ASEAN point of view, not the U.S. or UN, but specifically ASEAN. And their perspective was also as much as Myanmar needs the help of ASEAN. If ASEAN doesn't figure out a way to step in there and do something, this is a breakdown in ASEAN. They can't look at themselves in the mirror anymore. They've lost, their kind of, I don't want to say what their organization stands for, because it does come from an economic.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. We don't want to say, but if they cannot solve it, they're useless.
Right.
Yeah, they're useless.
Right. It's exposing something in them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's breaking them down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a sad thing all over.
Yeah. Most of the Western organizations relies on ASEAN.
Mm-hmm.
Rely on ASEAN, about our issue, Myanmar issue or something like that. But ASEAN is trying to solve it like 4 years, 5 years.
Are they really trying to solve it?
Are they really trying to solve it?
Yeah,
if they are not, what's your point? You can cross the ASEAN, and you can do it by yourself. I don't want to demand much. It's just only one thing. Don't do the airstrikes on the civilians. It's the only thing. No, I'm not requesting the no-fly zone or something like that, but don't do the airstrike on the
But there's no line.
Civilians.
There's no line anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could go on forever, and this has been an incredible conversation. I would very much like to invite you to come back and to pick up where we left off, because I think there's a lot more to go. I think this is very important material that we're getting through. I thank you for your time.
We've been talking a lot, and then you can see my insights about the life, what I did, what I experienced, what my thoughts on this coup, and then what my thoughts on resistance or something like that. And then I just would like to leave you guys, or one thing is, be in the present, as I always said. Don't be regret about the past, and then don't worry too much about the future. What I can do all these kind of work is, I just focus on the present. That's why I can carry on, I can keep going on, and then I will be going on for sure, in this journey. Not only for the resistance, our people's resistance, but also for throughout the life. Life gives you a chance, and then you take it. Just stay on the present moment. Do as you believe. We've been encountering a lot of psychological problems, a lot of difficulties. Sometimes I've been crying at night. Just hearing a Burmese traditional song, a good one or something like that. I was crying. I'm not crying. It's just my tears are just streaming off. Yeah. But one day, we'll be, we the people will be victorious over the military. I believe it. So be present, be focused, and then don't worry too much. And then everybody's suffering in this war. That's my thought. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. As regular listeners know, we often remind our audience about our nonprofit mission, Better Burma, at the end of a show. Truth be told, fundraising is hard work, and I can personally attest that it's no fun at all to keep asking for contributions. But the reality is the situation on the ground continues to be distressing, and our work would simply not be possible without your support. What helps us most at this time are recurring donations. This provides our team with a reliable foundation, and it helps to reduce the stress of this constant fundraising. This also allows us to focus more energy on creating impactful content for this podcast, as well as to better plan sustainable humanitarian aid to vulnerable populations. Even a monthly pledge really helps, like, say, gift us the equivalent of, a cup of coffee each month, or consider us a streaming service that you subscribe to. Anyway, to support our cause and make a lasting impact, visit insightmyanmar.org/donation.
Potaba Yarananga Yaunana, Dadu Yadana Ganizadamana, we got a Bisayana, Bisayo. Oba Yarananda, Dayananga, Yarana, Dayana, Potaba, Yarana.